a very warm welcome to Television Tonga's news package for this hour. On today's top stories, police recorded 2 untimely deaths on unusual circumstance this week. Police continue investigating incest and carnal knowledge of an underage girl, and efficient communication and broadcaster reduce risks of damage in natural disasters. These and more stories later on in this bulletin, together with the latest news around the region, world news, sports news, and the latest weather update. Now, for the stories in detail, I'm Anasio Falegano. Police recorded 2 untimely deaths on unusual circumstance this week. The first death was on Monday evening, a 51-year-old man from Papua. Information from police says Lopeti Tauliki Aholahi was found unconscious by one of his family members on the floor while doing the laundry. He was rushed to the hospital and was later announced dead. The inquest on Tuesday to his body has confirmed that he was electrocuted. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, a 72-year-old man was found by villagers of Papua floating at sea in Batangata on Tuesday night. The deceased went diving with others. Information from police says it is believed the deceased drowned. However, inquest on his body will be conducted soon to confirm the cause of death. 2 fathers are currently under police custody alleged for 2 different cases. One is incest and the other carnal knowledge of an underage girl. This was confirmed to Radio and Television Tonga News by the acting police superintendent of the Nuku'alofa police station, David Tavailea. Salamo Fulivai has more on that story.
David Tavailea says the 2 different cases includes a 57-year-old father alleged for carnal knowledge of an underage girl, a 14-year-old daughter. The 57-year-old is the victim's stepfather. The second case is a father who's alleged for abusing his very own 22-year-old daughter. David says according to investigation that's currently underway on these cases, police have confirmed that the mothers and family members knew about this, but were not willing to report to police because of their close family ties. He says the ministry is very concerned about the role mothers playing in regards of this kind of bad behaviors. According to information from police, the number of domestic violence, abuse, incest and other cases are on the rise. In 2014, they recorded 321, more than 370 cases from 2015 to 2017, and this year's figures from January to date is 46. Police continues investigation into this matter, and David Tavailea says those that commit this case can face a life sentence in prison. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Salamo Fulivai.
The Japan's government and its aid program, or JICA, or Japan's International Cooperation Agency, is optimistic that if people are informed in timely manners, risks of damages in disasters will not become a concern. This morning, a signing ceremony of the Minute of Discussions for News project, or the nationwide early warning system in strengthening disaster communications, was conducted between related stakeholders. Fadai Dubo was there and filed this report.
The Minute of Discussion was signed by the Deputy Director of the ICT Group Infrastructure and Peace Building Department of the JICA's head office in Tokyo, Masayuki Furukawa, Chairman of the ICT Board, Tapopa Nube, CEO of Information and Communication Meidek Paula Ma'u, and Acting CEO of Finance and National Planning Aholoto Palo. Speaking to Radio and Television Tonga News, Furukawa says the projects consist of 3 main components. First is the emergency radio system, second is the early warning sound alert system, and a final component is improving Tonga Broadcasting Commission's building and equipment.
The first component is the early warning communication system. This system will be installed into the disaster prevention related organizations and agencies to communicate each other in case of disaster. Usually we use telephone or email, but sometimes it's down when we face the disaster. So we need the most of the country needs, such as island nations facing the big risk of natural disaster, needs a more fixed and stable communication system. That is the first component. And the second component is early warning sound alert system. The sound alert system is kind of silent to disseminate the warning and evacuation request to the people of Tonga. Because in case of tsunami, there's no so many times to take action. So we need to get people know immediately to take action. And the third component is the AM broadcasting infrastructure. Because the current AM radio broadcasting studio is so old and facility and equipment. Therefore, we renew the facility and the equipment.
Tapanove after the signing ceremony says radio is an important tool to reach out information to a wide range of people.
I still remember growing up, my grandfather comes from Hapai, my grandmother's from Mava'u, and they would tell us stories about listening to the radio while they were growing up. So the radio, my point is a vital part of Tonga's ability to stay in touch throughout the whole country, not only from here but all the way up to the newest. So from our perspective, Tonga Broadcasting, this great assistance from the Japan and through JICA will assist us to be and to make sure that we're able to carry on this tradition of making sure that we stay in touch with all our peoples throughout the kingdom.
Similar issue was also raised by Paulama'o while thanking the Japanese government.
So this very important project is to strengthen the communications, because it's very, very important, the communications throughout Tonga, because we live in 5 main island groups, and most of the island groups have different islands. People are staying there, so they're vulnerable to this disaster when they hit.
All surveys and discussion is set to complete by January next year, 2018, before the actual works commence mid-year. Attending the signing ceremony were related stakeholders, Tonga Broadcasting Commission's General Manager Nansei Fifita, Japan's delegation from Tokyo, and others.
The sacked Minister of Finance told foreign reporters that he wants to see Parliament to take less adversarial approach to governing. Dr. Isaac Gege was removed earlier this week from his post after he abstained in a confidence vote against the Prime Minister. The vote was defeated, but Dr. Gege was sacked from his post. He said he had no grudges about his removal, but he said he wanted the Tonga legislature to learn to work together, and that is something he would be aiming to achieve if he remains in politics. Dr. Gege said the political agenda they use is a very divisive one. He said it is not one that is appropriate for Tonga socially and economically and politically. So he said they have to get the unity and move forward. This is the only way you could make a stronger Tonga. His Majesty King Teboho VI has given his consent to Prime Minister Honorable Akilisi Pohiva's reshuffled cabinet, which follows the forced resignation of the Minister of Finance, Dr. Isaac Gege. The new cabinet ministers and reshuffled portfolios took effect on March 6th. Honorable Tevita Lavimau is the new Minister of Finance and National Planning. He was the former Minister of Revenue Collection and Customs. Honorable Pohiva Tu'unedor retains his portfolio to the Ministry of Commerce, Consumer Trade, Innovation, Labour, and in addition is the Revenue Collection and Customs. Mateni Tabuelu, the People's Representative from Tongatapu Constituent 4, is the new recruit to the 12-member cabinet. The son-in-law of the Prime Minister becomes the new Minister for the Ministry of Police and Fire Services. The prisons will come under the Minister of Justice, Honorable Sione Vunafa Otsia, who is the Country Minister of Justice. The Prime Minister, Honorable Akilisi Pohiva, who is also the Minister for Foreign Affairs, or was the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Internal Affairs and Sports, has relinquished his Foreign Affairs portfolio to his Deputy, Honorable Siausi Sovaleni. The rest of the Cabinet Ministers continue with their current posts. Today marks the completion of 10 days of mourning for the death of the beloved Queen Mother, Halaivalu Mata'aho. All Tongan flags were flown half-mast since the burial day, March 1st, as an indication the people are mourning her death. This morning, Kupu clan and His Majesty's relatives from Holonga Vava'u made their traditional presentation or ha'amu to the palace. A talking chief from Tafale Ha'akiri clan said all the traditional presentation completed today with the ha'amu from His Majesty's relatives from Homa and Ta'anga Ewa. This afternoon, all the clans in Pangailahi, Mapuafuiva and Talakai Bao will return to their respective homes after residing in temporary places for the royal funeral. Since His Royal Highness Crown Prince Tuboto Ulukalala announced the death of the Queen Mother on the 21st of February, every Tongan showed their respect and honor by wearing black with Tongan mats and all buildings draped with black and purple materials. Council Lakiniu for appellants Mo'ui Fo'o Iakalaisi and others believe the president of Tokai Kolo Iakalaisi has no authority to gift the Ha'atehu property to anyone. Kalisi Fasisila has more on that story.
Council Lakiniu insisted that Saulala act as if he is the owner of all the properties of the church. He made reference to a phrase he repeatedly made during a Bible study that Maile can leave the church and take all his belongings with him. Saulala gave evidence during the trial saying that Ha'atehu Properties was financed by Maile and it was the only chapel built without a loan. News submitted that some of the members who criticized Saulala were told to be quiet when they wanted to question the issue, and this led to more than 50 families leaving and joining Mo'ui Fo'o, while more than 40 families remain. William Clive Edwards for the respondent submitted that evidence from the appellant did not show any full authority of the president over the church. Edwards said Maile did not give evidence in the trial due to medical reason, but some issues raised needed his explanation. The appeal comes after Chief Justice Owen Paulson in November 9, 2016, ruled that Mo'ui Fo'o Fellowship and all its agencies vacate the properties at Ha'atehu within 30 days from the ruling. The ruling of all appeal cases will be delivered next Thursday. Reporting for Television Tonga News, I'm Kalisi Fasisila.
The people of Fonoifua Ha'apai are vulnerable to the communicable diseases such as diarrhea due to flood from heavy rain last week. 2 officers from the Ministry of Health were sent yesterday to the island with medical treatments, clean water for consumption, and insecticide to ensure the people are clean as well as the environment. Sela Fa'o from the Ministry of Health said they are worried because majority of the people are using the old traditional Tongan toilet. Town Officer Feleti Fahaivalu said some people are still worried about their lives and shelters after the disaster, as well as their food security because most of their food crops were damaged from the heavy rain. National Emergency Management Office or NEMO has sent emergency kits to the island on Monday, including sugar, flour, blankets, hygiene kits, and to name a few. More than 80 people are residing in the island of Fonoifua in Ha'apai. Physical punishment of students at school is on the rise. This was after reports from parents on the issue. Salamo Fulivai takes up that story.
Speaking to Radio and Television Tonga News, the police superintendent of the Nuku'alofa Police Station, Devita Vailea, said they started working on these reports yesterday. He says this happened at the Vaini Middle School, where a teacher was alleged to have punished one of the students. Doctors have conducted an X-ray to the victim and police discovered there were other students in the same class involved. Devita Vailea says this is not a good behavior because this will ruin students' trust and also their relationship with the teachers. Meanwhile, police discovered another crime at one of the secondary schools where one of the senior students punished one of the junior students and was injured. He says this issue really needs to be addressed and the ministry can't tackle it alone. He then called on the people of Tonga, especially parents, principals and staff throughout Tonga, to work together in order to address this issue. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Salamo Fulivai.
Rich conversations between teachers and students can be encouraged through new avenues of learning, including using of text list books that rely entirely on illustrations to tell a story. This initiates a new program introduced by the Ministry of Education and Training through Help from the Pacific Literacy and School Leadership Program. A training program will be held for teachers from Tongatapu, Vavau and Ewa to acquaint themselves with this move. Information from the Ministry of Education Code and academic Dr. Seula Fua is saying this will help build literacy skills to the students, including skills in listening, comprehension, awareness of how the story was built, and others. However, this new method has started in several schools, including GPS Atele. Now for the latest weather update from Tonga's Met Office.
From a satellite image, we can see a weak trough of low pressure lies slow moving just to the north of the Niues. Meanwhile, a ridge of high pressure extending from the southeast continues to maintain an east to northeast wind flow over the group. Forecast for tomorrow: light to moderate east to northeast winds, mainly find a path for some cloudy periods with few showers, possibly heavy at times with isolated thunderstorms for the Niues. But for the rest of Tonga, mainly find a path for some few showers. Maximum temperature of 31 to 32 degrees Celsius, minimum temperature of 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. For our marine bulletin, for all of Tonga coastal waters, east to northeast winds 10 to 15 knots, rising up to 20 knots at times. For our sea state and swell, for all of Tonga coastal waters, slight to moderate seas with a moderate easterly swell. Low tide will be at 18 minutes past 12 a.m. tonight. High tide will be at 28 minutes to 7 a.m. in the morning. Sunrise for tomorrow will be at 19 minutes to 7 a.m. Moonset will be at 1 past 5 a.m. tomorrow morning as well. And wrapping up with our 6 days forecast for Nuku'alofa. Moderate east to southeast winds, variable for Thursday and Friday next week. Mainly find a path for some cloudy periods with some few showers. Maximum temperature of 29 to 31 degrees Celsius, minimum temperature of 22 to 24 degrees Celsius. Estimated relative humidity of 75 to 90%.
That was the latest weather update. Now before we part for this hour, here's the final look at today's top stories. Police record 2 untimely deaths on unusual circumstances this week. Police continue to investigate an incest and carnal knowledge of an underage girl, and efficient communication and broadcast to reduce risks of damage in natural disasters. And that wraps up this hour's news package. A friendly reminder, for more on these stories together with other news items, please contact us at telephone number 23556. Visit our website at tonga-broadcasting.net. We also have our page on Facebook, Radio Television Tonga. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening.